as a lineman, one of your responsibilities is going to be responding to structured fires. It's currently 5 a.m. and in our jurisdiction, 911, when they do get a house fire, they don't wait for the fire department to arrive on scene. They dispatch the power company to dispatch us right away. When I first got this company, my directives were more or less to find the fire chief or find whoever's in charge and see what they need. As I've gained experience with the company, that's not what I recommend. That's not a written procedure. And what I recommend for you linemen when you respond to these fires, use, and this is a hard term to use nowadays, but use your common sense rolling up to the scene. 20 years ago when I responded to my first house fire working for the utility, I literally walked up to the chief or whoever was in charge, or maybe even one of the firefighters, and said, who's in charge? Walked over to him. Power company, what do you need? He said, power out the building, you should be okay, just pull on the meter. Or can we have that triplex generator? Whatever it was, he said. I don't even bother with that now. Definitely follow your procedures, and if you're not sure, then yes, ask. But when you arrive and you see flames coming out the upstairs window and guys rushing into the house and it's an active fire, my best advice is don't waste time walking around looking to ask or see what to do. Obviously he's going to say we want power out, and I feel as a professional we're able to make that initial quick decision to say, is it safe just to pull the meter? Should we open the transformer? I don't mess around with the meters at all on a fire. It's an emergency. The neighbors aren't going to mind the outage. It's a couple extra houses that go out when there's an active fire, then the whole street's blocked off with emergency vehicles right now. Open that transformer, knock the power out, reassess. Then talk to the chief, talk to your dispatch. Continuously reevaluate the situation. Our job when we arrive is to make sure that the fire department does not have to worry whatsoever about the lines and the electricity when fighting the fire. So you can see the ladder up to the window. When I rolled in, there was the one fire truck just arrived on scene, and there was a ton of smoke coming out of that house. So my first of observation, you can see off in the distance there's a transformer, and in behind my truck there's another transformer. As I rolled in, I didn't see any open flames, and there was a truck on site. So my first thought was, we gotta get power out to the house now. Our maps showed that it was fed off the transformer behind me, but with another transformer being so close, you can't be too sure. So my plan, arriving on scene, was to park my truck close enough that I can not waste any time, but also you don't want to get in the fire department's way. So my plan was to open both transformers. I wasn't going to take a chance on things. I first opened the transformer behind me. That would be this guy right here. That transformer is open. And as I was walking to the home, I could clearly see an open point. So there's not only an open point on the high voltage, but also an open point on the low voltage. You can see where the hot connections on the neutral clearly veer off to the right and across the street. So at this point, there's no immediate need to open that second transformer. So I open the first transformer, I stop beside the pickup truck, which is the site commander, or site command, I'm not sure the technical term the fire department uses, so somebody let me know in the comments. Let them know the power is out, and basically if they need anything else at that point. In fact, that truck wasn't even here when I arrived. There was just a couple guys rushing into the house, so I'm not going to interrupt them fellas getting their way and ask them what they need. Common sense tells me the house is on fire. Let's get that power out ASAP. That being said, second thing, as the truck pulled up, you'll notice we got some outriggers out. As I did mention, there was a lot of smoke. So they were preparing to get their boom out, get the ladder out. You can see where they're parked versus where the home. The next step getting that ladder out would be swinging it hopefully underneath the telephone, maybe up over the primary. Either way, they've got a steel ladder breaking the clearance at 12 feet. by a lot. They could be getting close. So I did observe that we do have normal open. So my next step was to go into the map, see where that's fed from. So pretty straightforward here on this map. We've got our normal open. We've got that transformer that I opened, and the high voltage. There's actually a switch just a couple span away right here off the 3-phase. So in the event of emergency, I did let the chief know that if we have to shut off the power completely for them to get that ladder out, no problem at all. So once I have the scene under control, we can open switches under. We have a section in our standards for emergencies. So I did call my dispatch at that point. You want to call your dispatcher as soon as you can, as soon as the scene's under control. And you can only open switches if you 100% fully understand that you know what you're doing. You're not going to go to a random cutout that could have 100 amp on it, stand on the ground with a steno stick, yank that open, draw an arc, dump power to half the city and start another fire, pole fire or something, have an arc flash. You have to fully understand and know exactly what you're doing, what the switch is feeding and why. If that high voltage was more than a fuse band, let's say it did feed 200-300 customers, if that burst into flames, that ladder is coming out, I can set up my truck, I can still open it, I can still dump the power to those 200-300 customers. Again, fully understanding I know what I'm doing, having a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, using the load buster, a load break device, and then I must again call the dispatch as soon as possible. In this situation here, if I thought there was a chance, they've got it under control now, but if I thought there was a chance it was coming out, I would call my dispatcher and get permission to open it. That way he's aware while I have the chance that I'm actually sitting here waiting. If I was sitting here and those flames were getting bigger and bigger before actually opening it, I would call the dispatcher. So last step, if it's a big fire and you have the high voltage out, you cannot leave the site. When you have that high voltage down, you might have to put grounds on. In fact, you're probably going to have to take a permit and get grounds on. Either way, you're not going to leave the scene. Transformer open like this, if they say they're going to be 2-3 hours, it's no problem. I can take off, come back later. Especially, it has to be under control. I shouldn't say especially, it must be under control. In this case here, again, I might sit here another hour tops. But once they're ready, my next step would be to get everyone's power back on where I had the transformer open. So it is side by side. The service for both side by sides is right on the home. In most cases, unless it's a very small fire, a little kitchen fire in a pan or something like that, most cases, because of the heat in the wall, all spraying water all through the house, I will not only shut power off the house, but I'll cut the wires right down. I'll actually cut that service loop and take it with me. We won't put power back on until it has an inspection from an electrician, one that's documented. In this case here, I will have a discussion. You always have a discussion with the fire chief before putting power back on. What I will likely do is simply pull the meter. I don't think it's going to be serious enough to worry about shutting power off to both sides. There is a firewall in between those two units as well. So again, we'll talk to the chief and very likely pull the meter. Still require permanent inspection to feed that side of the home again, but we'll leave the other side that was unaffected. We'll have their power back on here before we go.